Past 8, and so many of you getting in touch with us all morning about A-levels and asking what is going to happen next.
Yeah, the government has defended the approach that it used to determine grades amid protests over the way that they were awarded and confusion as well over the appeals process.
So let's hear from some of the students who have contacted Breakfast after getting results which fell short of what they were expecting.
I'm a first generation Oxford offer holder from a state school, and getting my offer from Oxford was the biggest achievement I could have hoped for. I'm currently in the process of appealing my grades, but that process and the criteria seems to be changing every day, which is really confusing and makes me very angry when they've had all this time to prepare.
Prior to my mocks, I went into hospital with appendicitis and had to have an operation. This put me at a disadvantage compared to my fellow students. The government has not considered this aspect, which means I have no grounds on which to appeal. Thankfully, I got into my insurance, but did not get into my firm choice.
Applicants who apply to medicine or dentistry sat entrance exams such as the UCAT and BMAT and attended rigorous interviews before receiving their offers. These demonstrated our capabilities and genuine passion for the career, and I believe that these are more accurate than any grade we have been given.
I feel really let down and have no confidence in this government, who even after 3 days of results coming out can't decide what the appeals process is. And with GCSEs coming out this week, we need it sorted as soon as possible.
So many different questions from people there. Now, let's get more on this now from Dave MacCormick, who's the head teacher of Holyrood Academy in Wellington. Morning to you. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. Just from your point of view, what do you think should happen next?
Good morning. Thank you for having me on. I honestly think that the only way for this to be resolved now is for the government to make that U-turn that is being called for and to allocate all students for A-level and then the upcoming GCSEs their centre assessment grades that were allocated by their teachers.
We have spoken to somebody on this programme said that maybe the algorithm should be rerun, but in your view that's not good enough.
No, that's insufficient. Any algorithm, we heard from experts yesterday from the National Statistical Society who were able to talk us through the problems with any algorithm that uses historical data. The issue there for me as a head teacher is that, we say to students regularly that they are the masters of their own destiny. Their effort allows them to achieve more than they could have previously achieved. And any algorithm does not take that into account. It doesn't take into account individual effort. It doesn't take into account the fact that students are not a number. And, in my view, there is no substitute now for allocating students, all students, those centre assessment grades to value their hard work.
And what's happened? Can you give us examples of what's happened to your students and strange anomalies that have come up?
Yes, I wrote quite publicly about a student called Rachel who is absolutely one of the most talented students I've ever worked with. She achieved straight grade 9s at GCSE and aspired to study medicine. We supported her through our sixth form. We predicted that she would achieve 3 A grades, and on results day she opened her envelope to receive an A and 2 Cs, therefore missing her offer requirements at Cardiff and at Exeter universities.
Which is, for her, I presume, absolutely devastating. Today should have been the day, shouldn't it, that you started appeals. How do you feel about the fact that you don't even know what the process is?
Well, Ofqual should have been spending the weekend tackling the actual problem here, which is the widespread disadvantage of students across the country. And instead, what they tried to focus on was what might constitute a valid mock following Gavin Williamson's 11th hour announcement on Wednesday that students would be able to use a mock exam instead of their centre assessment grade. That has led to a tremendous amount of confusion because the guidance that was actually published over the weekend contradicted Gavin Williamson's triple lock promise. That there is no confidence in the integrity of the system now, none whatsoever. And the issue therein is that the only solution now is to move forward and allow the students to have those centre assessment grades.
Right, and of course, many parents, many students, teachers like you, GCSEs are due on Thursday. How concerned are you by that?
I'm extremely concerned. This has been a really upsetting week for lots of young people and for the professionals that work in the sector and the parents of students who go to schools. There are many more GCSE grades, many more students who will receive results next Thursday compared with last. And I think that there are two issues. We might see in the short term a slightly less pronounced impact on students' futures because the further education sector seems to be being much more flexible with their admission requirements compared with the universities, as we've seen over the last few days. But the long-term impact there of students not having the sufficient grades to take their next steps when they change their mind later in life or want to compete for a job is quite pronounced.
Do you think that, just briefly, do you think GCSE results should be delayed until, there is a different system perhaps?
That's not the best solution. It's a solution. The best solution is for those students to have their centre assessment grades.
Okay, really appreciate your time. Dave MacCormick, thank you very much. Thank you.
Let's put some of those points now to the Conservative MP for Wimbledon, Stephen Hammond, who joins us. Good